Tony and Senny as we come to you live from the Hy-Vee High School headquarters, where Hy-Vee proudly supports the student athletes, coaches, officials, and teachers of Iowa high schools. Hy-Vee, making life easier, healthier, and happier. And before we get to the next interview, let's have a moment of silence. And now let's get to Brad Bjorkgren, the Urbandale Jayhawks head basketball coach this morning. Coach Bjorkgren, I am so sorry. I don't know what it is, but every time we get a chance to talk to you, it's a night after a tough loss to those rivals from Johnston, man.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's a Sports Illustrated jinx, I think, is what it is. Just one of those things.
Hey, Brad, if you want your 5-game winning streak snapped, just talk to Tony during the week.
Exactly. I feel like I got it out of the way. Maybe we can go on another 5-game winning streak right after we get done with this interview.
Well, your basketball team's been a work of progress, and the young men have really gotten to it and gotten better here in the second half of the season, and that's really where it counts. I mean, a tough double overtime loss to a very solid Johnston team last night, but you got to be pretty happy about the way your team's progressed this season.
I think so. Last night it was a great atmosphere. It kind of brought back memories of some of those old Urbandale Johnston games where it was a packed gym, and Johnston did a nice job with they had coaches for cancer and did a lot of fundraising, and it was a really cool atmosphere. And the thing about it, probably the best thing about it for us, is it was a learning experience, and we'll learn from it because we told our kids these are the type of games that we want to be in, and we'll learn from it, and as coaches we'll learn from it. When you play a CIML Central game like that, you're going to find out what your weaknesses are because you're pretty well scouted, and so and I know we found out a few of those things last night, and so we're going to learn from it, and we got some tough games coming up, but I think there's some positives that we can take out of it.
We're visiting with Brad Bjorkgren. He's the head boys basketball coach at Urbandale. Visit with us here on the Iowa Sports Connection radio and television network. And Brad, you look at your conference, Central Conference, Ankeny out in front. They're 15-0 on the season. They're ranked number 2 in the Iowa Sports Connection poll. But yet everybody else behind them, there's 4 teams tied in second place at 4-4. That just shows you the balance that you have. And you're so right about the conference. You play everybody twice, and everybody knows each other pretty well.
Yeah, and I think. All the teams, probably besides Ankeny, have a lot of newcomers. Maybe not necessarily young, but there's a lot of newcomers. Everybody kind of graduated some star players, if you want to call them that, last year, and so I think everybody's getting better though. Again, I think the CIML Central is as good as it can be, and is good every year. And after Ankeny, I think we're all pretty even, and Ankeny's a step above us right now. Now, I'm not saying I watched Dowling already on tape with Ankeny, and they played them pretty well last night, and they played them to a 2-point game the first time. So, and I watched Johnston play them, and that was a ball game in the fourth quarter. So, I think we're catching up, but definitely Ankeny is head and shoulders above everybody right now. But I think part of that is they got 2 or 3 guys that are 4-year starters, and Tony's putting the kiss of death on them by putting them number 2 in the state. I don't understand that. They're 15-0. They're right in his backyard, and he doesn't put them at number 1 in the state. I don't know what the deal is.
I
with
agree,
that,
Brad.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Brad, I know as a coach you hate looking ahead. You want to take it a game at a time, the old coach speak, but you are set up in Sub-State 8 in Class 4A. The teams are Des Moines East. Traditional power in boys basketball, Des Moines Hoover. You have Indianola there, Southeast Polk, yourselves, and Waukee. And when you look at that, you've got to feel, on the right night, playing the way you are and at your best, you have a dog in the fight in the Sub-State.
I think we really have a dog in the fight, Tony. I mean, the seeding has been determined. We're the number 3 seed. So we get a first-round game at home. I guess it's not official yet, but if you ask any other coach in the state of Iowa, they know where they're going to be playing, I think. They've got it figured out all the way through. So I think Waukee, Hoover, both of those are top teams in their divisions. Us in Southeast Polk and then Indianola and East, I think we have a real good shot. And that's why that game last night was important to us, because those are the type of games we want to play in, big games. We want to play in sub-state finals. And that was a sub-state final atmosphere last night. And we have a lot of newcomers. We started 4 underclassmen, and we have some underclassmen coming off the bench. And so our guys, that was kind of one of our first opportunities to play in a situation like that, and that's going to help us in that sub-state.
Once again, visit with Brad Bjorkgren, the head boys basketball coach at Urbandale. And Brad, let's talk a little about your team and some of those underclassmen. Austin Chappelle, leading scorer. Danny Ajik, also one of your leading scorer. But Alan Lazard, one of your leading rebounders. Those are three guys that are been around, and they're gaining experience this year. Your team's 10-5 right now through the midway part of the season, so you got to be pretty pleased. Talk about those three players.
Well, Austin and Denny can shoot it as well as anybody probably in the CIML. If they get an open look, I think they're going to make it. I'm going to bet money on them that they're going to make it. Austin's kind of a little bit of a slasher and can kind of get to the rim a little bit. Denny's getting more athletic where he can kind of pull up and shoot the jumper. So we think we have a 1-2 combo on the wing that people have to guard, and they're finding out that teams are going to try to take those things away. And so we're going to adjust a little bit this week in practice, maybe to give them some better looks, because they can score if they have the open looks, and both of them had 14 last night. Allen is such a great athlete. He had 10 rebounds last night. He's always up by the rim, and one of the main things for him is it's kind of, he led the state in interceptions last year on the football squad, and he's getting some Division I letters in football, but some of those skills are helping him in basketball. He reads the ball so well and helps out for all of our defensive mistakes and covers up for everybody else that he's kind of a good guy to have hanging out behind the basket because he can just read things so well, and then he does get up and rebound, and he's a great passer. I think he's going to start scoring more once he starts feeling comfortable with what he can do, and I think those are probably our three guys that have been leading us most of the year. Jarrell Rose, he's a newcomer starter. He's our only senior starter, but he was sharing a uniform last year, and now he's got to be leading the state in dunks. He had 5 dunks in one game. He's very athletic and a good rebounder. And then our point guards have been shared by Saheem Razor and Jalen Alexander. They're both juniors, and both of them have been doing just an excellent job.
Well, Coach Bjorkgren, as you look at your upcoming schedule on that, of course, you have Waukee next, and then Ankeny on the road. You have Des Moines Roosevelt, who's had a pretty solid season, and West Des Moines Valley down the stretch. You also have a couple games where you can get that bench in there and get some kids sharpened up for the need, especially in a tournament run in case of foul trouble or injuries. So you have a pretty good schedule coming up that's not only going to test you and get you tournament ready, but at the same time get some of that bench prepared as well.
Yeah, I think, you say that coaches don't like a look ahead. I looked ahead a long time ago and saw that stretch and was like, holy cow, that's going to be a tough stretch. And now that you've already put the kiss of death on us once, now you've done it twice by saying we can get the bench in there on a few of those games. I don't know which games you're talking about.
Oh.
My gosh, you're killing me, Tony.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Brad, it would be better if you just came in and co-hosted like you did during the summer with my man here.
Well, that was fun. I had to carry him through that also.
Hey, Brad, I saw you, of course, at the Iowa Energy game. How did you like sitting there with 5,000 screaming kids that day when your nephew was coaching Dakota?
Right, and that was a neat atmosphere. It was really loud, but you sat there with headphones on and didn't hear anything of it.
Yeah, you're right there. I tell you what, though, I did hear it when they made that 110th point because every one of those kids knew they were getting a free pizza that day. So, yeah, boy, that was loud.
Yeah, that was a fun morning. That's a neat thing for those elementary kids. Iowa Energy does a great job with that, and I hear they're going to continue it. And so we're going to try to get Urbandale involved. I've already been kind of talking to some people to get some Urbandale students down there because I thought it was a fun atmosphere.
Well, Brad, we know you're a big fan of the Boston Red Sox. We'd like to thank you for the invitation of being a Cub fan and having Theo Epstein come over and run the Cubs. We want to appreciate that too, Brad.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's going to be a tough summer for us. You wait. The Red Sox will be there. You wait. They're going to be okay.
I'm sure they will.
I won't say that the Cubs will be, though. I'm not going to go there, Brad. I'm leaving it alone.
I'm telling you, Tony, when you emailed me this week and said, and I get this email, Tony and Zenny, I'm like going, oh, my gosh, he's back. We're on a roll. I almost didn't open it. I thought it was a virus.
Brad, you're awesome, man. I love you to death. Oh, man. This is great. Listen, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Good luck the rest of the way. Best of health and best of luck on your season. And hopefully we'll catch up with you at the Wells Fargo Arena, my friend.
All right. Thank you, guys. You do a great job for sports. Tell Mike hi. But thanks for having me on, really.
All right. Thank you very much, Brad. He's always a great guy, and I don't blame him. I might be it is amazing. Over the years, there's been a few coaches that we've called, and it seems like
few?
every time. No, but most of the time we get away with the win the night before, which makes it an easier interview. For Brad, it's just been like it seems like 4 out of 5 times it's happened on Friday night. We pick the week that they end up having a tough loss, but he's always cordial, and he just throws it back in my face. So that's fine.
And yes, he does, and it makes it the Tony Ansini roasting hour. I love it.